You are listening to Inspired Caring with Michelle Magner, episode number 146. Hello, welcome to Inspired Caring. I'm your host, Michelle Magner. If you are caring for an older family member, this is the podcast for you. Each week, I bring insight, tips, inspiration, and strategies to help you care for the people that you love without losing yourself along the way. Having cared for both of my grandmothers, I've helped manage everything from hospital stays, households full of belongings, to navigating senior living and end-of-life care. And I've worked in senior living as a result of that experience, serving my residents and their families as they've been on this journey too. Thank you for joining me today, and I hope you enjoy this episode of Inspired Caring. Well, I am very pleased to welcome Candace to the podcast. Candace is family caregiver who has started, what is it that you have started? A podcast? What are you doing with our FTD journey?
So it's a blog. At some point I do plan to make it an LLC, but I can't do that just yet. I started that around, I guess, 2014, 2015. Actually, it was kind of sort of my mom's idea. She told me that she wanted to work on something with me. So I was like, all right, cool. I was like, what do you want to do? And I started just tossing ideas out to her. And I was like, well, how about if I just take a bunch of pictures, bunch of videos, and, post them online and share with people, what day-to-day life is like and what you go through and everything like that. So she was like, okay. So she was diagnosed with 2013. So, and her language skills were already starting to dissolve. So, but she knew that she wanted to work on something with me, and I thought it would be kind of cool. Also, when she first got diagnosed with FTD and I was trying to learn stuff about it, 2013, there was really nothing out there, online. I also wanted to be somebody that could help other people go through, what we go through. And I wish I'd had somebody like me to talk to when I was just starting out.
Yeah. No, I 100% agree with you. My mother-in-law was diagnosed with frontotemporal dementia, or FTD, in 2016. And I felt like Alzheimer's was the dementia that people mostly talked about. And so it felt really confusing when they said that wasn't what she had. Like, we just sort of assumed that that's what we were facing. What were some of the things leading up to your mom's diagnosis? Like, what were some of the things that you all were noticing or she was noticing?
There were some behavioral issues, aggression. See, the thing is, my mom, when I was growing up, was bipolar. So I thought it was just, maybe she wasn't taking her meds anymore, or that the bipolar was getting worse. And so she had a few car accidents within a short span of time. Her language skills were changing. She was having difficulty reading and writing. It was just, it was different. I think the aggression, though, I almost walked away from her because I was just like, oh man, you're being toxic again. Like, I'm not going to deal with this. But then when I was seeing that she was genuinely having memory loss, because we were having arguments, and I was like, why are you lying to me about this, that, whatnot? And she's like, I'm not lying, and I'm just like, yeah, bipolar, But when I saw that she was saying that she wasn't lying about, like, she would say, oh, we'll go out, I'll come get you, whatever, and she wouldn't come, and she'd be like, I forgot. I'm like, we just talked about it yesterday, how'd you forget, So yeah, there was a lot of changes in her that I saw, and it took a while to get a diagnosis. She had a psychiatrist at the time, and the psychiatrist was, trying to tweak her meds and try different things. And nothing seemed to be working. So the psychiatrist suggested that she go see a doctor about, what was going on with her. And that started the process, but it took a couple or few years to get diagnosed.
So the psychiatrist was managing her bipolar disorder. And so the effort was to tweak the medicines, it sounds like, to mitigate the behaviors that were happening as a result of the frontotemporal dementia.
Mm-hmm.
What kind of testing did they do for her? It's been a while yet, but do you remember what kind of tests they put her through?
The clock test,
Mm-hmm.
counting money, a lot of different things like that.
And when the diagnosis came, what was like the sentiment with your family, or how did people receive it?
Well, when I first heard about it myself, I was shocked. I cried for 3 months straight. Because I'm like, my mom was only 57 when she was diagnosed. And I'm just like, there's no way that my young mother, first of all, what's FTD? And how is it possible my young mother has dementia? Like, it just didn't make sense to me.
Right.
And my family did the typical, oh, we're here when you need us, let us know what you need. And that didn't last long. Everybody quickly dissipated. So.
Like, I don't think people maybe realized the stamina that it was going to be required. Because FTD, I think, for my mother-in-law anyway, I think we were managing symptoms for 12 years.
Yeah, we're down 10 years deep with my mom. October 1st will make 11 years.
It's just a marathon.
It's insane. Sometimes it doesn't seem like it's been 10 years. And then other days, it's like, yep, I'm feeling every day of it, every hour of it.
What are some of the things that she needs help with at this point? Everything?
Yeah, she's total care now.
And is she in your home, or is she in a memory care community?
She's home.
She's home.
Yeah, the one thing she made sure, she's told me pretty much all my life, is that she never wanted to go to a facility. That's an interesting statement when you don't know what the future looks like.
I agree.
Because you find your friends or family or whomever to this agreement of keeping you home. And I'm not opposed to keeping her home. I want to keep her home. I enjoy taking care of her, I mean, obviously there are some parts of the job that are not fun. But for the most part, I like taking care of her and having her at home.
Mm-hmm.
But to say never put me in a facility when you don't know, like, anything can happen. In this case, it was dementia.
Mm-hmm.
I think people need to be very careful about the promises they have their family.
A lot of people make those promises under the circumstances at the time, and things change. And like you said, you don't know the future, things evolve. And it's hard to predict.
It is. It's not like you got a crystal ball in front of you saying, okay, well, all right, so you're only going to be, older person who needs a little bit of help. Okay. I mean, accidents happen, things happen,
Mm-hmm. Well, in your life as the caregiver can change dramatically and drastically too. And your own health can change. I think that's what I have experienced over time, is that so often when people have made a promise like that, it's the caregiver's health that is declining, that precipitates needing to make some sort of change with how things are being handled.
Right, because, the people who are sick are not usually always the ones who go first.
Right.
Um, I've had my own health battles. In 2019, I survived a bilateral fatal pulmonary embolism.
Oh my gosh.
And I had a deep vein thrombosis in my knee, behind my knee, which required, obviously, a hospital stay and catheterization at 44 years old.
Hmm.
And then in 2022, I survived double lung pneumonia and have been on oxygen since. But I think I'm finally weaning off it, so that's a good thing. I also had gallbladder surgery in 22, which was really rough. They gave me too much anesthesia, and they had a hard time waking me up.
Oh my gosh.
And also in 22, I had oral surgery for a tooth abscess that tried to kill me 2 different ways. Broke a toe in 22.
Oh my gosh. Oh
So
my gosh.
yeah, 22 was a rough year.
Yeah, you kind of want to write that year off. How do you keep going? What is motivating you? How do you keep showing up every day?
I mean, I have to.
Yeah.
I mean, I want to, obviously, right? I wouldn't be doing this if I didn't want to.
Right.
But when you have to, you just find a way to push through.
When you were having all of those health experiences and episodes, how did care for your mom get managed? What happened?
So she has a companion who is not very helpful, but my mom did have care while I was away.
So there was someone else that was around and available
Yeah.
to help her. Yeah. What do you think the future holds
For her or me?
for you?
I have no idea. I guess I'll just keep doing what I'm doing with the blog and, trying to help other people.
So the blog, is it primarily through LinkedIn, or are there other platforms where people can watch the videos?
So it's the actual blog, our FTDjourney.com.
Okay.
Actual website. And then we're on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, LinkedIn, TikTok. I did build a Pinterest page, but I haven't really used it. And we also have merch on Etsy. And I'm actually building another merch store.
So what types of things are you sharing within the blog? Like, what can people expect when they're following you on your platforms?
I talk about grief and, day-to-day life. Like one of my blog posts is something like things not to say to me when my mom died. Because people say the most ridiculous things, like, oh, you got an angel, or everything happens for a reason. So, like, don't say that. I think, people say things out of not knowing what to say, but sometimes just being present is
We don't have to fill all the space with words.
right. Exactly.
So it sounds like when people connect with you, they're going to be on this journey with you. So hearing about day-to-day experiences, what's going on, how you're handling things, how you're feeling.
Yeah.
I think people are very responsive to videos too, and it seems like you have an abundance of those.
And that's the thing. Like, when you're a caregiver, isolation comes fast. And, when we were going through the COVID period in 2020, and I would hear people complain, oh, I'm so lonely, oh, by myself, oh, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, and I would say to people, man, this is a piece of cake for me. I've been isolated way longer before this started, and it kind of was like funny yet sad to me the way people were reacting. Because for them, I knew that for them, it was going to be a temporary situation. We would go through it, and then we would get through it, and everybody would go back to their lives.
Mm-hmm.
But as caregivers, you know, we were isolated before, and we're still isolated now. And I think what you said about building community, that's right. I'm trying to build a community. I want, you know, eventually I might do like some support groups too.
What would you say to somebody else who's struggling right now? What would you like to say to them?
Take it moment by moment. Don't strive for perfection because you're never going to have a perfect day. You'll have a good day, you know, but you're not, I'm not sure I've ever had like a perfect day. Do your best and just be present for them. Be compassionate, be empathetic. I wish I could say it gets better. It doesn't necessarily get better. You just learn how to cope.
What are some of your coping mechanisms that you find helpful?
I like to go for drives.
Yeah.
I'm that crazy person in the car with the music blasting, you know, with the windows partially rolled down, singing, or sitting at the lake, you know, just watching the water, you know.
But it sounds like it's you're carving out those moments for yourself to decompress.
Yeah, I don't get very many of them, but yeah, I do try to make sure that I go for a good solo drive every now and again.
It's great.
You know, don't give up. I am available. If anybody wants to email us, our email is ourjourney@ourstdjourney.com. Let's support each other.
So we were talking about how with this disease process, things will change. And sometimes things that were hard to do at one point, like bathing, eventually won't be so hard anymore.
My mom's not combative like she used to be before. She used to really fight you on stuff, and now she's just a lot more docile, a lot more calm. The one thing that I had to learn is that everything is a phase. So nothing that we go through lasts forever. So she used to be super combative. She would yell, kick, scream, punch, slap. I mean, I've been through it. She doesn't do it anymore, like, because she doesn't have the energy anymore. She still cusses. That has never left her. Even though she doesn't have very many words left in her, she still will cuss, you know. Like when the AIDS came one time and she went to bathe my mom like, fuck. And I was just like, whoa, oh, you still know that word, huh? You know? So that was her favorite word when she was a lot more verbal, was, you know, just saying fuck. And my grandmother would be here and I'd be like, oh, no. But yeah. So but you know, most things is a phase, and I have learned to don't get comfortable, because just when I thought I had things settled and stable, here comes something else. So you always have something else to look forward to. And I learned with her to be extremely hyper vigilant and a lot of preventive stuff. So if I saw something changing, I was hyper vigilant enough to say, okay, this is changing, and let me get ahead of this as best as I can. And you're not going to be able to get ahead of everything, but there are some things that, you know, like when it comes to safety, you know, different things like that.
But it sounds like you were really observant and you were dialing in that things were shifting, and you had a lot of compassion for her and proactive, like you were trying to be proactive on how to set both of you up for success.
Yeah, well, I became, I guess, somewhat of an expert at reading her body language.
Interesting.
So when it came to, you know, toilet issues and she was starting to have trouble, then I would start reading her body language. Okay, jumping up around like a little kid. Okay, maybe she's got to go to the bathroom, or she's, holding herself. Maybe I need to, get her to the bathroom. She's doing the pee-pee dance, okay?
Right.
She's making these sounds, so eventually I just started to pick up on them.
So you were able to track the patterns and then do something about it.
Yeah, it's just like when she was hungry, I could always tell when she was hungry because she would start, she had this oral fixation. I always had to have stuff in her mouth, always chewing or something. So I would, what I would do is she had gotten to a point where she wouldn't sit at the dinner table anymore. So what I would do is I would take a plate and put like a bunch of fruit and a sandwich and different things like that, and she would walk around and pick, up whatever she wanted and start eating it. So eventually, when she couldn't eat a sandwich like, hold a regular sandwich the way we do, I would cut it up for her. And then,
Mhm.
so she would just pick up a piece of sandwich, or some fruit or whatever. I had gotten these plates that stick to the counter or to the table because she had started to would walk around her plate and then she would drop food. And I'm like, yeah, I'm tired of picking up food. So I would get these plates that actually stuck, they were rubber, would stick to the table. She couldn't pick up, couldn't pick up the plate. She would just pick up the food. So I just, one thing that I would encourage everybody is to start reading the body language because behavior is communication.
Mm.
So when you see your loved one is acting a certain way, then you kind of have to turn into this detective. And, body language is going to change over time. But as you learn the patterns and as you learn, that there are some things that are just going to remain.
So really it also is expectation management. So as you're picking up the patterns of their body language, you're dialing into what they are able to do and not do. You are adjusting your own expectations. I love that example of the plate that you had that sticks to the table.
Mm-hmm.
Instead of expecting that her behavior to change or her to do something differently, you did something differently.
Yeah, work smarter, not harder.
Work smarter, not harder. It's so good.
Yeah. It's like my mom, I could always tell when she was bored because she would go to the door, she'd want to go outside, so I had gotten to a pattern where I would take her and their dog for a ride every day for, at least once or twice a day. We would go out and go for a ride. It entertained them and it also wore them out. So, and then once I noticed that my mom was having issues, like she had gone through this pattern where she would try to get out of the car with a lot of vehicles running. So I would put her in the back seat and with the child protective lock, so she couldn't do that. Also, when I noticed that she was starting to have toilet issues, I put a mattress cover on my seat in my truck because I'm like, well, if she has any accident, at least the mattress cover is big enough that it covers the seat and the floor.
Oh my God.
And
That's so smart.
right, and and I also would carry around a backpack with me, so when I was out with her, it's kind of like a diaper bag, But,
Mm-hmm.
uh, best way to explain it. But yeah, so it's all about reading their signals because once you learn their signals, then you usually will know how what their needs are and how to deal with it. Sundowning. Oh my God, sundowning.
Yeah, let's talk about sundowning. Or what are some of the techniques you do to manage that?
So what I learned with sundowning is environment matters. So when she was during the day would like to watch her shows, her talk shows, and uh different things like that. But what I also learned is that she didn't really like things very loud.
Mm.
So when it got to about noon, maybe, I would keep things real soft
Mm.
and quiet, peaceful, and I would make sure that, the lights were soft or, wherever she needed them that day. And it made sundowning a lot easier because I had prepared for it ahead of time, if that makes
Mm.
sense.
Yes.
Uh, Now, some people aren't always that lucky because sometimes you just don't know. But when I would see her starting to go into that, I'd be like, okay, it's time to turn the lights down, time to relax, let me go fix her dinner, things like that. And she used to shadow me, which basically just means following me all over the house. So I would take advantage of that. I would, instead of getting upset with her for following me all over the house, I thought, I know where you're at. You're right here with me. So I'm going to take you into the kitchen with me while I cook, and I'm going to set my tablet in front of you and let you watch whatever you want while I'm cooking. And it worked.
Oh my gosh, that's so wise. Like to shift your thoughts about the situation.
Yeah, at first I used to get kind of ticked off about her following me because I used to say, "Why are you following me? Stop following me!" And she would laugh. She'd be like, "No," and I was like, "Okay, fine." So I'm like, "But you know what? As long as she's following me around, I know where she's at. I don't have to worry about what she's into, and I don't have to worry about crash boom while I'm in the kitchen, fixing dinner or washing dishes. Whatever. She's right there."
Oh my gosh, that's amazing.
I took advantage of everything that I could. Okay, so you want to follow me? Okay, fine. You can come out back with me. You can, go in the kitchen with me. Whatever. Yeah, I just try to work with what with what I was given.
Yeah. Does she enjoy music?
She does. I have headphones for her. I started putting headphones on for her and using Pandora. And she used to walk around the house and dance. But now that she's not as mobile as she used to be, she has this recliner that she likes to sit in, so I'll put her headphones on her sometimes. But she has a lot of jerky movements and stuff anymore, so sometimes the headphones don't always stay on. So what I'll do is I'll go to YouTube and put music on the TV for her.
My mother had that as well, like involuntary jerky type movements.
Yeah, I don't really know if it's like a Parkinsonism or if it's what they also call cortical basal degeneration. Because cortical basal degeneration is involuntary movement, but I think you can't really diagnose that until autopsy. So.
And at least for us, we just got to the point where we weren't looking for more diagnoses. Like we kind of knew where she was at, and we're just managing day by day how she was doing.
Yeah. Pretty much what I do.
How do you take care of yourself besides the drives? Like, what else are you doing? Do you have anything else throughout your day that you weave in, or?
I find writing the blog therapeutic at times.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes painful. Occasional journaling, I suppose. Right now, I'm working on the merch line. So that's kind of fun, trying to design different things and figure out what people will buy and what they won't. Designing stuff, it's kind of fun. I have a certification in graphic art, so it's kind of fun.
Creative outlets.
Yeah, I'm a creative.
Well, this was amazing. Thank you for being willing to come on and just share some wisdom and strategies with people.
I try to give a lot of gems because it's tough out there.
It is tough out there, and the numbers are a little daunting about kind of the trajectory of these different disease states. I just redid my certified dementia practitioner certification. So when I first took it years ago, they were saying we have over 80 disease states that cause a symptom of dementia, and now they're saying 100 plus. So, yeah.
I probably will do a GP certification one of these days or something like that. Because I'm a family caregiver and I'm not a professional. I'm a professional on my day-to-day life and my mom, right? But I've
Yeah.
never worked like, in the field. Although I've been told by several people, hey, you've got a lot of hands-on experience. And I'm like, yeah, when this is over, I'm done. But I just want to add a little bit more credibility.
It's nice to have the letters. You have all the credibility. Like the experience is way beyond what some letters can give somebody. So
Yeah, people are always like, well, what are you going to do? Are you going to continue caregiving when it's over? And I'm like, yeah, first, once my mom dies, I want to get to the degree and then we'll figure it out. But people are always so, to say, what's next? I'm like, I can't think beyond tomorrow.
right. Or today, dinner. Like I cannot think beyond tonight. I have no idea what tonight's going to bring.
Yeah, it's always interesting when people are like, what are you going to do next? I'm just like, yeah, when my mom dies, cry,
Yeah.
grieve.
Grieve.
Don't know what else to want me to say. I mean, I've been doing this now. I've pretty much been a caregiver for my mom all my life. I mean, bipolar. Yeah, and all kinds of craziness that comes, chaos that comes with bipolar. But, anytime I've taken care of my mom when I was younger, it was temporary. And she would get better for a little while because, her medications got adjusted or, taking it again, things like that. But this is a whole other ball game. My mom even had a car accident once, 99, near fatal car accident.
Oh my
Took
gosh.
care of her then, and she came through it and she's fine. We had a lot of surgeries and everything, but she recovered.
Mm-hmm.
But this is different. This is no matter how well I take care of her, no matter how much I love her, no matter what I do for her, no matter, there's still going to be one end result.
Yeah, there's no recovering. There's no getting better. There's no surviving.
I mean, look, we're all going to die one day anyway, right? But I don't think any of us see a future like this for ourselves. And certainly not young. And the sad part is I've heard people as young as like 20 years old with dementia. And that's obviously an extreme case. But dementia does not discriminate. I learned that the hard way. I mean, my mom was 19 when she had me. And I never for a second thought that I would be losing her so soon in my life. Especially when one of her dreams was to have, grandchildren. And I don't have kids yet, and she'll never get to meet a grandkid. It changes everything. And you don't know it until it happens.
Yeah, that's right. Thank you for coming on.
Yeah, it's been good. I definitely enjoyed it.
I hope we can stay connected, and I am definitely going to put all of your contact information in the show notes so people can get connected with you, so you can continue to build out your community to support people. I think it's important for people to share the real stories about what's really happening.
Especially with FTD, because it's still, even 24, it's still not as talked about as it should be. One of my goals is to push this to the forefront like Alzheimer's. When I first started looking for information on FTD, all the stuff I kept finding was Alzheimer's. I'd find little things here and there about Lewy bodies, would hardly find anything about vascular dementia. And FTD was even less information, especially now that Bruce Willis got that diagnosis.
Yes.
I can't say I'm surprised. I kind of expected it. When they first said that he was diagnosed with aphasia, I said, yep, I know it's nuts. I knew it. I just knew it because that's the way my mom started.
Wow.
But I'm not even noticing that his diagnosis I thought his diagnosis would push things to the forefront a little bit more, but I don't really notice that right now. Maybe my mom and I will be the ones to put things out there a little bit more.
Yeah, it's your mission.
That is my mission, to bring this to the forefront and let people know that this can happen to you, any person, anytime. Doesn't matter.
Thank you, Candace.
You're welcome.
I look forward to staying in touch.
I look forward to it too.
What I know for sure is that things are going fine until they're not. Everyone wants to stay in their home for as long as possible. And then there's a fall or a hospital stay or clear signs of dementia or a diagnosis, and remaining at home becomes questionable or potentially impossible. It is super important that you are informed about what assisted living and nursing home care can offer and understand how to choose the one that will best fit the needs of your family. I know from personal and professional experience what objections are going to come up and how to navigate those conversations. You love your family member and you are doing a great job. It just feels like the situation is fragile. You're waiting for the other shoe to drop and you don't know what you don't know. Illuminating Senior Living answers all of your questions and walks you through step by step each common objection and frequently asked question. This course will save you so much time and heartache. Imagine knowing exactly when it's time to move and ensuring the care and safety of your family member. Imagine knowing what specifically to be looking for in a care community and how to have the conversations about moving. Illuminating Senior Living gives you the roadmap so you're prepared. Click the link in the show notes, Illuminating Senior Living, to secure your video course today.